Well, hey there. Let's get started, my friends, with the essentials of a math expressions classroom. So here are the things that I suggest are must-haves. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about your class setup. We're going to talk about a focus wall, manipulative organization, a carpet area, and then our desk situation. So let's get started right away. So first of all, here are the must-haves. I think must-haves include number charts. So just like we would never take down our alphabet cards that are in the classroom, I would suggest that you never take down your number charts. Now you can see in this classroom, they have their number parade, they have their 120 chart. Like those are essential number posters. So K2 have the 120 chart. Second grade has the 120 to 240. K and 1 have the number parade. And then your grades 3 through 5 have other charts that are important to them. Like third grade, you have your multiplication chart. Fourth and fifth grade, you have fraction charts, place value charts, geometry charts. All of those are those staples, but specifically the number charts. So for grades 4 and 5, it's your place value chart that is the most helpful and the most important in terms of a must-have that is up all the time. Not just during those units, because it's things that we reference and we're making connections to all year long. Carpet area. So you can see here that I have kids up on my carpet. And that is because whether they're in kindergarten or they're in sixth grade, I feel like I want a captive audience where there's a place where students are really focused. They're distracted by materials, by whiteboards, by manipulatives. Notice these kids have nothing in their hands. They're only focused on whatever it is I'm sharing, whether I'm sharing someone else's work under the document camera, we're talking about a specific comparing and contrasting methods. I want when they're on the carpet to be a captive audience. So in that case, I always have kids that can come to the carpet. We're a quick practice there. We're having math conversations there. Then when we get to our desks, that's where we're working. That's where we're working out a problem. We might be talking to a neighbor. We're using manipulatives. And they'll say, okay, now come to the carpet. When we come to the carpet, we are discussing. We're doing choral response. I'm trying to keep a lot of engagement of going back and forth. Now, that's for me and what I think is helpful in the classroom in terms of a carpet area. And I think it works really well for your quick practice and your daily routines, regardless of if you use it any other time during your lesson or whatever grade you are. Now, math expressions manipulatives. So the other thing we know is how important the math expressions manipulatives are. There aren't very many of them. So when they are being asked of and you're supposed to be using them in a lesson, in my opinion, it's a non-negotiable because there's not much that replaces them. And again, there's not that many of them. So it's important that when they ask you to use manipulatives, you actually use them, including the math expressions whiteboard. I know it's big, it's cumbersome, it doesn't fit in desks. Now that they're a little bit flimsier, they don't hold out that well, but there's a specific reason that we use them. And they have built-in learning scaffolds and visuals. So maybe you have small other whiteboards that you prefer students to work on some of the time during math. It fits in their desk. Great. But I would say in general, the math expressions board, there is a rhyme and a reason to giving those to students, no matter what unit you're in, because they're accessing some of those scaffolds they've used in other grade levels to learn things like multiplication. Fourth grade, to take away their math expressions board is taking away their scaffolds for multiplication facts. They learned their facts on the math expressions board. And now when they don't have that with the number path where they can do count bys, counting on, etc., they are at a loss. It is their scaffold. So secret code cards, remember secret code cards are really important. We're going to get to more of those materials in just a minute. So let's go back through this. The class setup, again, oh, we're on the right thing. Look at your bulletin board. Okay. So notice that we have the number charts. We have the number path. We have the pattern poster if you're in kindergarten or first grade, right? These are examples. And of course, a quick tip here is to put your 120 chart in a poster frame. I swear to you, it's going to save the life of that poster. You'll write directly on the frame. Some people mount it, as you can see here. Other people just have it off the wall so they can put it up on a chalkboard ledge during the routines. Then they can put it down low when they need that space for something else. Up to you, but we know those number charts are really important. A math focus wall is totally optional. Okay, so you might choose to have your big ideas for the unit, a character trait that students are working on, like mathematicians take risks, mathematicians talk to neighbors, like whatever that trait is, a mathematical practice standard or just general mathematician traits would go on your focus wall. You're saying, friends, don't forget, this is what we're focused on during this unit. during this quarter. It helps you focus. It helps students focus. Now, don't do a focus wall because it's a part of an administration walkthrough. Okay, that's just wallpaper. Unless you're building this with the class, it doesn't matter. It's not worth anything. So I'm not going to make a word wall with all the vocabulary from the whole year on it. It's not something that they built, but I will put vocabulary on my focus wall for that unit as we introduce it, as students are learning it and using the vocab. Now we'll anchor it and we'll put it on our focus wall. So BDWT, that's build, draw, write, talk. Like, okay, remember friends, this is how we're going to build it. You're about to do numbers 5, 7, and 9 in your workbook. This is how we're going to build the concept. Here's how we're going to draw it. Remember, we talked about this is how you're going to do the method. Here's 2 methods you might choose from. And then friends, here's the sentence frames. These are the frames I want you to use as you talk to your neighbor and discuss your work. Everything that happens on a focus wall, you can see other things listed here, are to norm students and to give them a place to anchor learning. When they're searching for it, like, I know we talked about this, but they can't quite find it, right? It's where you put your anchor charts if that's appropriate for you. So do I have a math focus wall for you? Of course I do. Those of you who are Math Genius Squad members, you can see down here, you're going to go to your Math Genius Squad area. You're going to click on Back to School. The icon is in your additional assets. It's also in Unit 1. I am going to give you all the pieces that fit in on this wall. Okay. There's also just more information if you want the focus wall setup. If you're not a member, you can get the whole setup, the banners, the headers, all of the things I just listed on the previous slide. You're going to get here and you're going to get all the pieces to kind of plug into that, right? So I'm saying, what are the mathematician traits of this week? What are the students for that? Who are my student leaders? How are we going to build it, draw it, write it? I'm giving you all of those pieces in this full kit. So if you're interested in that focus wall piece, just say link, or you're going to see the links below this video and you can go right to it. Again, Math Genius Squad members, just click the Back to School icon and you'll see everything there in your membership area and more information about it. From number lines, you choose. You may not want all of this stuff. And there's no saying that you have to have this. This is optional, but it is a great way to anchor the learning that you're doing in your lessons and to create goals that students are reminding themselves of that you have. Now, when it comes to manipulatives, we've talked about those whiteboards and how important this whiteboard is and all the scaffolds that are going to be on it that are helping students with number writing, with counting, with count bys, with making 10, with quantity drawings. Your place value boards are all meant for that. You know, you have tiles. If you're in kindergarten, these are not replaceable. They're so important. They have the numeral on the front. They have the quantity on the back, just like your secret code cards that first grade through sixth grade have. You have blue ones for first through third. You have blue and green ones for 4th through 6th because you work on fractions, decimals, and whole numbers. Now, again, they're not common. Like, it's not like you're using them all the time every day. Kinder, you're using yours in every unit regardless, but everyone else, they're not all the time. So when it does say to use the secret code cards, that should tell you how important they are to building depth of understanding. So you really want to have those essentials and you want to have a way to manage them. If you're not sure what those manipulatives are, or even what you're supposed to do with them, or what they look like, or when do we use this, you're going to want that material management checklist. You're going to find that link below. When you click on it, it's a free resource that we will give you. There's videos linked where I explain the manipulatives, why they're being used, how I use them in the classroom, and then even more importantly, all the management systems. We're going to give you all of our examples for how teachers have managed it, how we've managed it ourselves, and how we organize them. So it's actually something that you feel like you can use in your classroom. Again, you're going to find that link below. All right. Now let's talk about that location. We talked about that desk area, that carpet area. We're going to have students come to the front and look here. Again, you can see we have a captive audience, whether they're using the quick practice with student leaders and we're all there together using choral response, or in this case, I have much older students, but now is the time where I want to really talk about this problem or give some suggestions or even explicitly teach before they head back to their seats where their whiteboards are at, where they'll actually do the work. And then we'll come back to the class and we'll also do some more discussing. It's just the way I prefer it. I really love it for quick practice daily routines. Up to you if you use it during other parts of your lesson for engagement. Now, the way you set up your classroom is up to you, but the way you set up your desks does send a signal and a message to the rest of your class. Here's how our class functions. If you're in desks of rows and columns, kids get the message, math is an individual sport. Right? It's done by myself. I'm competing against myself. I'm just trying to get this done. Mastery is the goal in terms of completion, even though that's not really mastery. But kids don't know that, no, actually math class is about interacting with others. It's about community. It's collaboration. There's a lot of hands-on things happening in my math class. I prefer groups of kids for this very reason. Okay. At least they should be where they have a partner so that students working next door to each other have a really easy and accessible person to have conversations with and to do some collaborative work with if grouping is not your option. So consider your desks. How are you going to manage those so that the philosophy and the feel of your classroom is collaboration? So let's talk about your action steps, my friends. I want you to create a classroom that has math expressions essentials, but it works for you. You be you, I'll be me in the classroom. But we do want to make sure that it has some of those essentials and that it is conducive for the best, most optimal learning and a collaboration space where students are at the center of that classroom. You want students to have an access to the front of the class. You want to go download that material management guide right below so you know what materials are the most important, how to use them, how to store them, and why they're important. And then, of course, the room setup, you want to set that up for that thinking of we want a classroom that is about collaboration and is student-centered. If you want something extra, then you can go look into that bulletin board focus wall where you can really change that out as you go during your unit to help anchor the learning and the goals for your classroom. If you have any questions at all, let us know. We'd be more than happy to answer. But those are what I suggest right now as the essentials in your math expressions classroom.